What is up, YouTube? What is up, family? We have another video to check out. We got Germany's romantic Rhine and Rothenburg. That's all I know. Let's check it out. More Germany. Amazing architecture Germany has. Amazing. Seriously. Seriously.
Hi, I'm Rick Steves, exploring more of the best of Europe. This time, we're going medieval, cruising river gorges steeped in legend and climbing castles in the most romantic corners of Germany.
Love the houses. Love the houses. Another guy who makes a living just going all over the world. Oh, these people. I'm so jealous. I really am. They just travel the world and make videos of where they are, and that pays the bills. I don't know how they do it. This is the dream job, people. Hopping from country to country and just checking out all the sweet little spots that most tourists don't know about.
This time, we're enjoying the charms of Germany's villages and evocative ruins. While much of this country is an urban and industrial powerhouse, this episode's all about storybook Germany.
After cruising through a fairy tale world of Rhine legends, we'll climb through my favorite castle.
Whoa, I've never seen this castle. Will you look at that? It looks like it's fake. That is how amazing this thing looks. Seriously, just sitting there. Wow. They don't look like that. This is definitely a different looking one.
So in all of Europe. And check out a sleepy and laid-back alternative to the Rhine. We sample fine Rhine wine, learn the history of Christmas ornaments, and explore the best preserved medieval town in Germany, with some help from the night watchman. Germany, about the size of Montana with over twice the population of California, is the heart of Europe. This time, we focus on Germany's romantic Rhine region. We'll cruise the most castle-studded stretch of the Rhine, visiting St. Goar, Bacharach, and Koblenz, before exploring the Mosel River and the Eltz Castle. Then, we venture east to Rothenburg.
While the Rhine is over 800 miles long, the 36-mile stretch from Mainz to Koblenz is by far the most interesting, and that's what we're exploring. It's no coincidence that the great medieval sites of Europe lie along the important trading routes, like the Rhine. It took big money to build the structures that we travelers would marvel at centuries later.
Since ancient times, the Rhine has been one of the world's busiest rivers and this region's major trading route. Today, there's a steady flow of barges with 1,000-ton loads, while busy train tracks and highways line both banks, all under the watchful eye of once mighty castles. Many of the castles were robber baron castles, extortion stops built by petty princes and two-bit rulers back when there were 350 independent little states in what is today Germany. The ship-shaped Pfalz Castle, actually built midstream, effectively taxed river traffic. Its town grew rich as the castle raised its heavy chains across the river when boats came and lowered them only when the merchants had paid their duty. Along this stretch, there were custom stops like this about every 6 miles. No wonder merchants were...
You guys had tolls for your rivers. I hope we don't hear that, because, America will be like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's start charging for boats on rivers.
Early supporters of the creation of larger nation states.
In the Middle Ages, emperors, popes, and these little princes were jockeying for power around Europe. In Germany, the emperors controlled the princes. But in the 11th century, the Pope established his power over the emperor. This allowed the little German princes to go wild and build all these castles. That's why most of the castles along the Rhine date from this era. A couple hundred years later, as the emperor began reasserting his control over the princes, these castles saw action.
While the castles survived these battles, most were destroyed later by the French because they feared a strong Germany, and they felt the Rhine was the logical border between the two countries. In the Romantic Age, the late 1800s, medieval things were in vogue, and many of the ruins were rebuilt. Today, the Rhine castles are enjoyed as restaurants, hotels, hostels, and museums.
That was a hotel.
and travelers cruise the river just to castle watch.
Just a castle.
Tour boats come and go about hourly. Various lines each have their own docks and advertise their own schedules. Buying tickets from a kiosk before boarding, tourists can put together their own hop-on and hop-off tours of this most romantic stretch of the Rhine.
Very nice.
Along with transporting camera-toting tourists, the Rhine moves a steady flow of cargo to the world's biggest port, Rotterdam, which waits at the mouth of the river. Barge workers are almost a subculture. Many own their own ships. The captain and his family live in the stern, car parked on the rooftop. The crew lives in the bow.
Yeah.
Logically, imports like oil go upstream and exports like German manufactured goods go downstream. The powerful Rhine has long been treacherous to navigate. Boats generally pass on the right. Since downstream ships can't stop or maneuver as freely, upstream boats are expected to do the tricky do-si-do work. Large triangular signals posted before troublesome blind bends in the river warn of oncoming ships. Each triangle covers a segment of the bend, the lowest triangle being the nearest. They warn of approaching ships. If the bottom side of a triangle is lit, that sector is empty.
That's cool.
But if the left side is lit, there's an oncoming ship in that sector. The most dangerous bend in the river swings around a rocky bluff called the Lorelei. Because of reefs just upstream, many ships never made it safely past the Lorelei, and the rocky cliff remains steeped in myth.
Sailors blamed their misfortune on a Fräulein so wunderbar, her long blonde hair almost covered her body. This legendary siren flirted and sang her distracting songs from this rock.
Wow.
Just downriver from the Lorelei is the pleasant town of St. Goar, founded in the 6th century by a monk famous for his hospitality. According to legend, early sailors would stop here for a rest and a prayer of thanks after surviving the seductive and treacherous Lorelei. Today, St. Goar is a tourist town. Its only hazard, streets of shopping opportunities. This shop brags it has the world's largest free-hanging cuckoo clock. This one specializes in style.
Look at those.
Rheinfels Castle sits like a dead pit bull above St. Goar. Once the biggest and mightiest castle on the Rhine, Rheinfels rumbles with ghosts from its hard-fought past. While it withstood a siege of 28,000 French troops in 1692, the French finally destroyed it a century later. Today, this hollow but fascinating shell offers your best hands-on ruined castle experience on the river. During the pre-gunpowder glory days of castles, defenses were better than offenses. The best way to beat a castle like this was a long, boring, starve-em-out siege. Therefore, a castle needed to be well-stocked and self-sufficient.
Imagine this courtyard 500 years ago. It had a bakery, pharmacy, herb garden, livestock, a well, even a brewery. During times of peace, a couple hundred people lived here. But during a siege, as many as 4,000 people would pack within these walls, hoping to have enough provisions to outweight their attackers.
In its heyday, these walls, whitewashed and gleaming in the sun, flags flying high, must have exasperated attackers camped outside for so long. If you miss your boat, hourly trains connect riverside towns quickly and cheaply.
I would just take that train just to go by the buildings. Just sightsee right from the train. All day. I'd be happy doing that.
The historic town of Bacharach makes a fine home base for exploring this region.
Look at the view.
Herr Jung, Bacharach's retired schoolmaster, is a good friend of mine. Over the years, he's enjoyed showing my tour groups around town.
Not many people in this town.
No, we are a small town, but in medieval times we were a big town. We had 3,000 inhabitants. It was a big town and a famous town. This was the capital once of Germany. And for 2 years, this was the residence of the Holy Roman Empire.
Actually, the Holy Roman Emperor ruled from here.
In its heyday, Bacharach was fortified by a great wall, which you can still hike on above the town today. At one time, there were 16 towers along the wall. 6 of them survive. The wall extended all the way to the castle.
So this was a very important city.
But we had big problems now then because we had 15 fires and the plague. Half of the population died away by the plague, and we had the 30 Years' War, and Bacharach was occupied 8 times by the Swedish, by the Spanish, by the French, 8 times. Yeah? And then we became a sleeping beauty.
You guys are busy, huh?
From
This is absolutely gorgeous, by the way. I mean, this is like like the Hobbit type scenery. Like I'm waiting to see like I don't know, like a goblin or something pop up somewhere. Like this, it doesn't even look real. You see the screen, right? Even them when they're walking, it's beautiful.
1650 till to 1850 for 200 years.
200 years,
nothing changed.
Wow.
Then
so
in the
nice.
mid-19th century, things changed. Romantic artists and writers were charmed by the Rhineland's mix of past glory, rustic poverty, and rich legend. They discovered this area, putting it on the Grand Tour map as the Romantic Rhine. Victor Hugo stood here and wrote of Bacharach's ivy-covered ruined chapel. A magnificent skeleton puts its silhouette against the sky. And the Romantics reported on the region's wonderful wine, which had been popular since ancient Roman times. Like other towns along the river, Bacharach has a long tradition of vintners making wine and offering their label to the thirsty public. The Heidrich family has made wine here for generations. Marcus and Suzanne share the fruits of their labor in the family cellar.
Tell me about the grape. What is the grape that works the best on these hills?
Riesling is the best white wine grape. It's the queen of the white wine grapes. So what is typical for this wine? It smells very good. You can taste the herb in it, the sun. It's something special.
Yeah.
You like it?
I like it. I do.
Sure?
Well, let me try another, a little more.
Today, the Rhine's castles earn their keep not by locking people out, but by welcoming them in. Bacharach's castle has become one of Germany's top hostels, with plenty of beds and a warm welcome.
Don't look like a castle inside, does it? Wow.
The simple dorm rooms, whether for individuals or families, are a godsend for budget travel. Many come with the original medieval view.
Yeah.
And here, the kids take the castle ambience to heart. Hostelers cap their sightseeing day here on the terrace, watching over river traffic with new friends from around the world while enjoying the cheapest accommodations on the Rhine. That's good travel.
Oh.
The mighty Rhine is joined by the Mosel River at Koblenz. The city's name comes from the Latin word for confluence.
That really is a tight turn, man. That's crazy. That is a tight turn.
A reminder of the region's Roman past. This point where the two rivers meet,
how would this
the
thing make
Deutsche
that
Eck,
turn?
or German corner, is the tourists' jumping off point for exploring the dreamy Mosel. But for Germans, it has a special significance.
Every time I come here to the Deutsche Eck, I feel it's very close to the heart of German people or something.
You should.
Why is
You
that?
should
What is the
feel
deal?
Should.
Deutsche Eck to a German is a feeling of belonging, of unity, of being German, not being better than the rest of it, but having a sense of history, where we came from, who we are. This spot here, this corner, this monument, the Mosel, the Rhine River, it is really the heart and soul of Germany, of being a German.
So this is really like what would it be in American, sort of a rallying cry, the Alamo.
That is exactly it. You couldn't have put it better. This is the German Alamo.
Now this guy here, Kaiser Wilhelm.
Yeah, Kaiser Wilhelm built Germany. I mean, Kaiser Wilhelm had the foundation.
So this man symbolizes
This is it.
the modern unification of Germany.
He did it. He held it.
The Thomas Jefferson of modern Germany.
Amen.
Wow.
The Mosel moseys 300 miles from its source in France, where it's called the Moselle. This stretch, just before it meets the Rhine, is the most interesting. The Mosel is the Rhine's peaceful little sister, with romantic villages slipped between steep vineyards and the river, lots of friendly B&Bs, and a sprinkling of castles.
If there's no castle, You're not in Germany.
Boat, train, and car traffic here is a trickle compared to the roaring Rhine. The town of Cochem is the main tourist center.
Oh,
Easily accessible by train, with a
love
cobbled
this.
old center
love this.
and a delightful waterfront promenade. It has a storybook castle, but Cochem Castle is actually a 19th century reconstruction, more fanciful than authentic. For a more real castle experience, we're visiting Burg Eltz. Hiding out for 800 years in a mysterious forest, it's been left amazingly intact.
Yes. Incredible looking.
This is my favorite castle in all of Europe.
Wow.
Visitors assemble in the central courtyard, the common ground of a tiny fortified community. From here, groups are guided through the castle. The place is truly authentic, furnished throughout basically as it was 500 years ago. That's rare in castles. Thanks to smart diplomacy and clever marriages, Burg Eltz avoided wars and was never destroyed. It's been in the Eltz family for 8 centuries. The present countess loves flowers and adorns each room with fresh bouquets weekly. The nobles from 3 branches of the Eltz family who shared this fortification met and worked out their problems here in the Grand Gallery. The decor had meaning. Since the jester could say anything to the king, this relief reminded people they should talk freely. But the rows of silence reminded them that what's said in here should stay private. The master
Like Vegas.
bedroom was finely decorated and as comfortable as possible back then. It came with a toilet, one of 20 in the castle, each flushed occasionally by rainwater. This bed is about 500 years old. It's built high because hot air rises. The canopy is romantic now, but back then it was practical. It kept the heat in and the bugs out. The castle's 500-year-old wall paintings help you imagine who lived here. In the bedroom, the theme, a festival of phallic and fertility symbols, hints at a playful and lusty world. Burg Eltz has a lacy little Gothic chapel. The paintings and stained glass are also 500 years old. The chapel was on a lower floor. Because it was disrespectful to live above the house of God, the chapel juts out, cleverly filling a bay window. All these castles are remnants of Europe's feudal system. Feudalism was the social structure that came out of the chaos and fragmentation that followed the fall of Rome. The feudal system was based on a series of agreements between a hierarchy of landlords. Basically, a big landlord granted land to a less powerful guy in return for service and loyalty. To put it into feudal terms, a lord granted a fief, that's land, to a vassal, that's a less powerful lord, in return for fealty or loyalty. From the king on down, one man's vassal was another man's lord. The feudal hierarchy, all these layers of lords, rested upon the backs of the landless peasant or serf. And the serfs who surrounded these castles had no real options in life but to work the land in return for protection and enough food to survive. As on the Rhine, towns on the Mosel, like Beilstein, grew up below their castles.
Unbelievable.
Today, with narrow lanes and an easygoing ambience, they make ideal overnight stops.
I would kill to just be at that table right there and just give me your best food from the menu, your best drinks, and heaven. This is heaven. Right here is heaven. You're looking at heaven. You're looking at heaven. Cobblestone streets, no cars, and just look. Come on.
Narrow lanes and an easygoing
Look at that. Heaven. That's heaven.
ambience, they make ideal overnight stops.
Wow.
Inviting little ferries shuttle farmers, hikers, and bikers back and forth. I'm staying at Haus Lippmann, a family-run restaurant that rents out a few rooms upstairs. The traditional guests here are Germans who come year after year to enjoy the casual lifestyle, good cooking, and Mosel wine. The creaky wooden staircase leads to 7 inexpensive yet comfy rooms. And inexpensive yet comfy rooms.
Is it just me or you know what? No, yeah, it's the angle of the video that makes it look like there's dwarves that are gonna sleep on these beds. You know what I mean? If you more than 3 feet, you're not fitting in this bed. But right, that's what the video's making it look like. But I guess yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah. It just look really weird. When you look at it quick, you be like, "What? Wait."
And I reserved
weird,
mine with a river view.
See, right?
While slow trains lace together Rhine and Mosel villages, express trains make the longer connections to other regions. In 3 hours, we're in Rothenburg, Germany's ultimate walled city. In the Middle Ages, when Frankfurt and Munich were just white spots on the road, Rothenburg was one of Germany's largest cities, with a whopping population of 6,000. Today, even with its crowds and overpriced souvenirs, I love this place.
I would love that place too.
During Rothenburg's heyday, that was about 1200 to 1400, it was at the intersection of 2 great trading routes, Prague to Paris and Hamburg to Venice. But today, the great trade is tourism.
You notice how there's not a... Have you seen a fat German yet? In the videos, have you seen any fat German? Did you also notice is like all these areas? You see what's happening, right? People are walking. They're walking. It's crazy, right? I mean, look over here where you see cars. Walking. Walking. No fat Germans. I wonder why. Just saying.
Rothenburg is a huge hit with shoppers. True, this is a great place to buy cuckoo clocks, steins, and dirndls. But see the town first. Most of the buildings were built by 1400.
My God.
Like many medieval towns, the finest and biggest houses were built along Herrengasse,
That is awesome.
named for the Herren, or the wealthy class. The commoners built higgledy-piggledy farther from the center,
Cars.
near the walls. Hanging shop signs advertise what they sold. Knives, armor, bread, whatever.
I remember that back in the day.
Rothenburg's wall, with its beefy fortifications and intimidating gates, is about a mile around and provides great views and a good orientation. Rotor Tor is the only tower you can actually climb. It's worth the hike for the commanding city view and the fascinating display on the bombing of Rothenburg in the last weeks of World War II, when much of the city was destroyed.
Oh, wow.
But Rothenburg's most devastating days were 400 years ago, during the 30 Years' War.
In the 1600s, the
You guys have literally rebuilt everything, haven't you?
Catholic and Protestant armies were fighting all across Europe. The Catholic army took the Protestant town of Rothenburg. And as was customary, they planned to execute the town leaders and pillage and plunder the place.
Oh, of
But
course.
the Catholic general had an idea. He said, hey, if somebody in this town can drink a 3-liter tankard filled with wine in one gulp, I'll spare the city. According to
Wow.
legend, Rothenburg's retired mayor Neusch said, I can do that.
That's
Mayor
cool.
Neusch drank the whole thing, the town was saved, and the mayor slept for 3 days.
That's amazing.
And today, tourists gather on the town
He
square
slept for
several
3
times
days.
daily for a less than thrilling reenactment of that legendary chug.
Oh, wow.
Nice story. But in actuality, the town was occupied and ransacked several times during that 30 years of war. And when peace finally came, Rothenburg was never again a major player.
It slumbered peacefully until rediscovered in the 19th century by those same romantics who put the Rhine on the Grand Tour map. They came here to paint and write about the best preserved medieval town in Germany. Shops are filled with etchings and prints inspired by this 19th century romantic take on the town. And Rothenburg is lined with other shopping opportunities. Tourists flock to the Katie Wolfart Christmas Village, a phenomenon requiring a special electrical hookup and offering a Christmas shopping fantasy 365 days a year.
That's beautiful.
Upstairs, its Museum of Christmas Ornaments gives a kind of historic legitimacy to its merchandise. While celebrating a winter festival with trees predates the birth of Christ, about 500 years ago, Germany was the first place where decorated trees became a part of Christmas celebrations. These first trees were strewn with cookies, apples, nuts, and sugar sticks, which children eagerly raided. In the 1800s, when candles became affordable, the Tree of Lights arrived.
How many fires you think that caused back in those days? Can you imagine? I can't even imagine how many fires and houses got burnt down just because of that idea. We need some light on this tree. Well, let's put some candles on it. Yeah, I wonder how well that really went.
And the tradition of the family gathering around the tree for gift giving was also established. In the early 1900s, during the Art Nouveau age, trees were draped in tinsel and ornamented with lovingly painted glass bulbs.
Yeah. Wow, it tells
In
you
Germany,
everything.
the land of O Tannenbaum, Christmas trees were so popular that during World War I, thousands of them were actually mailed to soldiers on the Western Front. These tiny trees, assembled right out of the postage box, were made of feathers and paper.
Okay, you gotta do your shopping. But Rothenburg has two sites you absolutely must see: the Medieval Crime and Punishment Museum and the great art in this church.
St. Jacob's Church, built in the 14th century, has been Lutheran since 1544. Its 12 Apostles altarpiece grabs your attention. With several large panels that swing on hinges, it's permanently left in its open festival.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That is, what a view. What a view.
Day position. But hiding upstairs in the back of the church is the artistic highlight of Rothenburg and perhaps Germany's most wonderful wood carving, the glorious 500-year-old Altar of the Holy Blood.
Wood.
Tilman Riemenschneider, this is supposedly his self-portrait, was the Michelangelo of German woodcarvers. He whittled this incredible ensemble to hold a precious rock crystal capsule, believed to contain a drop of Jesus' blood. Below, in the scene of the Last Supper, Jesus gives Judas, clutching his bag of coins, a piece of bread, marking him as the traitor. Art like this gave Rothenburgers spiritual guidance.
Oh my God.
But some of the townfolk needed a more physical form of guidance, as displayed in Rothenburg's Medieval Crime and Punishment Museum. This museum, the best of its kind, shows graphically how people were punished in the Middle Ages. Each feudal state thoughtfully described its cruel and unusual punishments in carefully written laws. Torture, like stretching someone on the rack, was only used to get confessions. Generally, just a quick look at these tools got the accused talking. Death penalties were common and came in degrees. A minor offense, such as stealing, earned you a quick death by beheading. More serious capital offenses, like murder with theft, earned you a slow death, like having all your bones broken under a wheel before your execution. Bad social behavior was dealt with by public embarrassment via shame masks. Men acting like pigs wore this mask. Gossips, people who heard too much and talked too much, would be locked into this contraption with a bell ringing on top.
Oh my.
Quarrelsome people would be locked into a double-neck violin until they worked things out. Glorious wood carving.
So some of those are actually very good laws. It would fix a lot of issues in my country. I'll tell you that right now. A lot of issues would get solved really quick.
Cruel and unusual punishments shine a light on medieval life. But my favorite trip into medieval Rothenburg is with the night watchman. Nightly, he lights up his lantern and leads a gang of tourists into the past.
And this town was conquered first time in 1631, so it took a while, hundreds of years. No enemy made it into this city. But they all did one thing. If they couldn't get in, like it was their plan, and they had to go back where they came from after they tried everything they could, well, then they plundered our villages. They killed our peasants. They took parts of our outside territory and built and burned our villages down. There was always a price to pay.
The tour finishes with a scene from the Rothenburg of centuries ago. As the night watchman blows his horn signaling all is well, we know that medieval Germany survives. From evocative castles to its romantic rivers, from fine Rhine wine to fanciful cobbled lanes, with a little imagination, you can...
this also looks, I mean, just, yeah. You see what I mean? Yeah, okay, good.
Rekindle the Europe of old.
Thanks for joining us on our visit to Germany's romantic Rhine, Mosel, and Rothenburg. I'm Rick Steves. Until next time, keep on traveling. Auf Wiedersehen.
I wish I could, Rick. I wish I could. You lucky.
Tired Mayor Noosh said, I can do that.
Yeah, that was good. Some of the stories, man. Oh, I love it. I love the masks. Love the masks. You gossip too much, you had to wear a mask and a big long tongue. Oh, man. The ideas. You don't get along with somebody? Stick them in a 2V thing. And they got to look at each other. They can't hurt each other, but they got to be right next week. Oh, brilliant ideas. I like these ideas. A lot of good stuff. But the views, these little villages, some of these, hold on. I just, you can fall. Love it. Oh yeah, that was phenomenal. Wood carving, like, that's just, anyway, I that too. This really was an amazing video. Oh yeah, these views here. This, now that I'm going backwards, I'm realizing, how amazing the things that we saw are. But damn, I'm trying to find. Really, it looked like absolute heaven. Heaven. I think I just broke the video because I hit back too much, and now that's it. Damn. All right. Well, I wanted to show you where he's walking with the guy that said the village had 3,000 people. That was just that little village there. Oh, beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. Anyway, there you go. I mean, another German video. Listen, you bring as many as you want. Germany. Another video about Germany. How about I say it that way? Oh, look. Oh, man. See, that too. Anyway, this. Oh, yeah. This one here was. Anyway, you saw. You watched. Excellent video. Love the culture. Love the views. Love the architecture. Love the colors. I love a lot. I mean, I love a lot of these of Germany. I really do. I absolutely. Oh, I gotta find a way. Gotta find a way to visit. I gotta. Man, oh, right there. Look at this. Another village. Look, whatever. You guys. This is not fair. You got a lot of nice stuff. It's not fair. All right. Anyway, Germany's romantic Rhine. Oh, it's absolutely romantic. All these places were romantic. And in Rothenburg, not Rothenburg, Rothenburg. I still don't get it. All right, on to the next one. Take care. Peace out. Have a good night. Holy crap, this is the first time I went through a whole video and did not get interrupted with a commercial. I just realized that now. Anyway, gute Nacht.